Now let's look at conditional rendering. So conditional rendering is self-explaining. So we want to render something when a condition it is met, right? So there are two ways to do that. Is the logical and operator and if else conditional operator in a form of an ternary operator. So let's first look at the logical and operator. So now in our render, so during our rendering, we want to set a constant variable count to 0. So inside this div, we want to render this h1 tag after we've checked a certain condition of this count, right? So we are saying count and end h1 messages count and display the count, right? So what this is saying is that if count is true, if it returns true here, render this. Else, if it doesn't return true here, just ignore this and continue, right? So let's go to our if else in a form of ternary operator, right? We are saying here we are rendering this div, right, in our render. So we are rendering this div. So firstly, we have a constant that this state is login. So we have a state either is login is true or false that is set, right? So sorry, which is set to true or false, right? So we want to render the current state of a user if they are logged in or not. So the user is, right, bold and then logged in. So if this state is true, right, so we will store true in our constant variable called is logged in, right? So if this is true, we want to return this, else we want to return not, right? So if the user is logged in, we'll say this user is currently logged in. If here is false, we would say this user is not logged in. So it will say, oh, here is false, so I have to return the else part. So if here is true, I'll return the true part. So this is the difference between the logical and the conditional if, right? So if is not true, we want to return something opposite to what we were going to return here. But on the logical and operator, if this is not true, just ignore everything else, just continue writing the other code. So let's look at how we are going to use the operator in our app. So in our app, we are going to be using this if else conditional operator. So let's dive into it. Now let's change the color here according to is complete, right? So we'll go to our to-do. So going to say class name is equals to not to do, but we want to say to check if what is the value of to do, and then conditionally give styling according to that value. So we will say is complete, right? So is complete is either true or false, right? So I'm going to be using a ternary operator here. So if is complete is true, right, do this. if is complete is true, we want you to echo we want you to pass the string to the class name. So we want you to pass to do, and then we want you to pass complete, right? So these are two class names that you can find on the CSS. This is to do, and then this is complete. So you can see that complete has a border left. Okay, that's actually be 10 pixels solid, a green one. By default, to do has a border left with 10 pixels solid red. So we want to add this complete only when is complete is true. So we want to, if is complete is true, right, add these class names, else, right, only add to do, right? So if is complete is true, if is complete is true, add these class names, else add only this class name. So this complete overrides the styling inside the to-do one. So you can even write it as in like 1, 2, 3 true to still work. Even if you write it like this, it will still work. Even if I think 1 works. Okay, 1 doesn't work. So yeah, so it works like this. So now we are conditionally rendering these class names based on what is complete is set to. Let's say false. It changes. When we say true, it changes again, right? So now we have a little bit of conditionally assigning class names based on a state, right? So we can also modify this text here with the same is true. So we want to say if is complete, right? If is complete is true, right? We want you to say mark as not, mark as incomplete, not incomplete, incomplete, right? If is complete is true, we want this button to display mark is incomplete, else we want to display mark as complete, right? So now by default, because our state here is true, is complete is true, so it is green, and the text on the button, it says mark as incomplete. So we are conditionally rendering this button text according to the state of is complete, right? So according to whether the to-do is complete or not, right?